What's up, movie lovers? It's your girl Rossie, and I'm back with another awesome film. This is a film, it's the last voyage of the Demeter review. It's one of my favorite films from 2023. And so, or I think it's 22, whatever. Anyways, John and I are going to discuss. So let's get going, guys. What's up, John?
Nothing much. How you doing, Rossie?
Dude, I thought I was on Movie Lovers. Didn't realize I was on Rossie Talks. So I'm just like, what are you waiting for, John? Let's introduce the show until I'm like, wait, it's your show, dummy. It's your show. Anyways,
Oh,
I'm
it's
back.
your show too.
It's our show. It's our show.
Right. You know what? We can even remix it. We can put both intros in here at the same
We
time.
should
It
do
don't
that.
matter to me.
We should do that. Absolutely. I've closed out shows with like been on Rossie Talks and closed out with Movie Lovers. It's like, well, now you can hear mine after this one. So
Right.
this movie, I told John about the last Demeter, the voyage of the last Demeter, and I absolutely loved it. John recently watched it, and John, just a little bit about what did you think about the film? Hey, what's up, JoJo?
Okay. Here's the thing. I remember doing the trailer reaction last year for it, and I
Okay.
wanted to see it. I just didn't get around to seeing it or anything like that. But I'm a sucker for vampire movies. I love Dracula.
Oh yeah.
And to know that this is a prequel story of the events that happened on the ship, because we
Right.
never got that at all in any of the Dracula movies. Of yes, we understand that how he got there to London
Right.
and stuff like that. They've been shipwrecked and people died,
Right.
but we don't see the context of everything, even though we already know how this is going to end. I
Right.
just like seeing the story being told in a new kind of way,
Yeah.
and I think that this is a good, fun way to actually do it.
Right. I love, Dracula, the story of Dracula, Nosferatu. Just, I love that whole Transylvania, just Dracula period. And I really appreciate when someone takes a story and does some justice to it. Bram Stoker was really good. But this one, I haven't seen a Dracula film in a long time, other than there was one on Netflix, and it was a
Yeah,
series. I think it was just 4 episodes, and it was the Dracula.
yeah,
That one was awesome. I really enjoyed that. Now they did a great job, and I love that it was just 4 short episodes. Just a limited series. So I really appreciated that. But this one here, I really liked because it wasn't your typical Dracula movies that we normally see. We get to see Nosferatu, and that's exactly who it is. So I appreciated that take. And can I just read a little bit, you guys, who maybe if you haven't seen, I'm going to read a little bit about the film so you know exactly what it's about. And then John and I are going to talk about it, and we're going to talk about it out of sequence. It won't be like in order. We're just going to talk about the film. So it's based on a single chapter, The Captain's Log, from Bram Stoker's classic 1897 novel Dracula. The story is set aboard the Russian schooner Demeter, which was chartered to carry private cargo and 24 unmarked wooden crates. So from Carpathia to London, the film will detail the strange events that befell the doomed crew as they attempt to survive the ocean voyage. And each night, they're stalked by whatever this cargo is. Go ahead, John.
yeah. The thing that I liked about was okay. Let me just tell you this. I just like
Okay.
the storms in this movie though too,
Right.
because of the fact it made me feel like I was actually part of this. I actually felt like I was on the ship, and I thought the direction of that was really cool. Then, of course, whenever we first see the crates being delivered onto the ship and everything, you realize, oh shit, this is actually gonna be
Yeah.
Dracula. This is what's
Right.
gonna happen. And then, whenever the crate almost falls down on the little boy,
Right.
too, and you see the blood dripping out, but nobody else notices it. But I like that little tidbit. But I also like the how we're introduced to each character though. Whenever
Yes.
we're looking for other shipmates to be with them,
Right.
and supposed to be they pick up a doctor on here. I like the
Yes.
fact that they got someone of color to play this character. His name was
Right.
Clemens,
Yeah, Corey
and
Hawkins plays
yeah,
Clemens. He's from what was it? Welcome to Compton, or the NWA story. Sorry,
Yeah, straight out of yeah,
Straight Out of Compton. Sorry,
yeah.
Welcome to Compton, guys. Sorry,
That's
Straight Out of
polite
Compton.
way. That was like the
Welcome to
most
Compton.
politest Ice Cube song that I ever heard from NWA.
Straight Out of Compton. My bad. Anyways, great actor, and yes, he plays the intelligent Doctor Clemens, and
Right.
who actually wasn't going to be a part of the crew. They weren't going to have him on the crew for the first thing. I mean, obviously, let's just get it out the way. This is back in the 1800s, so
Yep.
obviously he's an educated black man, which is unheard of. At that time, really, you didn't, I guess you didn't meet a lot of uneducated or educated black men, but educated black man, a doctor, and he wants to be a part of this crew. They don't want him on the crew, first of all, because he is black, but also, I remember them looking at his hands, and they realized that this guy's a professional. He's not a crew, he's not a crew member.
No.
So, when John's talking about that box that we see, and you see, I think his name is Toby,
Yep. Yep.
the captain's son is underneath this huge crate, and it's getting ready to fall down, and Dr. Clemens comes and swoops Toby up, and that's how he was able to be a part of the crew, because he saved the captain's son. So there we go.
Right. And I like how, it starts off very slow. I like the fact that this is a slow paced film and we
Right,
don't get to see the monster right away or anything like that. We're able to
right,
care about all these other characters. And, I like how basically this whole entire creepiness of the fact that there's rats that's supposed to be on board with the ship because of the fact that it's a ship.
right,
And every ship is supposed to have rats.
right,
And it's very unsettling when you don't hear that noise because of that. And I like how basically
right,
one of the crew members says that. He goes, "Look, hear that?" He knocks on the
right,
ship. He goes, "There's nothing there.
right.
That's weird." And he goes, "You can't trust a ship that don't have no rats."
Right. And them not having rats, obviously, whatever is on there has, animals are known to, when there's a storm coming, you can tell because of their reaction, a tornado's coming. So these rats not being there, not there for a reason. I really did appreciate the fact that when the movie starts, guys, it starts where there's a shipwreck, and it's the ship is already in England when the film starts. So you see the shipwreck. There's no one there, but there's a ship guard or whatever that's talking to a captain or the constable and letting him know, and he's frightened. He's talking about what they found on the ship, which was
The captain's log. Yeah.
the captain's log, which described everything that went on. So that's the introduction to the film. And like John says, the film is very slow. You get your crew together, and and we're on our way. And this is a merchant ship, by the way, guys. So they have a certain amount of time to get to their destination, because the sooner they get there, the more money that they all make. Okay, so this is a big deal, them getting to where they're going. And then we know that Nosferatu is there. Do you want to talk about that, John? I mean, that's
I
man.
mean, I geeked out on that, to be honest with you, to
Yes,
know that he's on there
yes,
because you don't get to see that in other Dracula movies or anything like that. And just to see him being on there is just gives you more of a sense of what we're getting here and more
right,
of a background into what we're getting. You
right.
know what I mean? But yeah, I thought it was really cool to actually see him for the very first time and just being able to just get to know him a lot deeper than what we have been.
And also, I want to mention, so each night, guys, something weird is going on, and as the ship is leaving the port, there is one guy that's on land, and he had handed one of the captains a lot of money, and I remember him saying, basically, this ship is cursed, it's doomed,
Yep.
So some people knew that, all right. So each night something's happening, and there was one night where Toby, the captain's son, who seems to be about 9 years old, really active, great kid. He's on the ship with his dad. There's this dog that he has, and he is in charge of the dog. Anyways, the killing of the dog, when all the animals were killed. What did you think when you saw that? I mean, torn apart, but you don't see it happen. Not
No,
yet.
you don't. I like the fact that they didn't show that. and they
Yes.
let us see it for the next day on and seeing what happened. It has like
Right.
that thing kind of vibe to it, even though we got to see the thing killed the dogs or whatever.
Right.
But with this, it has a little bit more of a mystery element to it
Yes.
of what's going on here. You're just as shocked as what they are when they
Right.
see him. And then next thing you know, it's like, oh, now we have to go ahead and throw them overboard
Right.
because of what happened. And Toby is just in disarray about it and
Yes,
everything.
he is.
He's crying.
Right.
And of course, and and you just feel bad for him. I like how Clemens is just there for him, trying to hold
Right.
him, and then everybody's looking to Clemens like as if he's the one who killed the dog. He goes,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah, because he's
uh,
new to the crew, and
right,
he's new to the crew. He's not like them, but the smartest one, obviously, he's a doctor, very smart. But yeah, you're gonna look at, we don't know who he is. He's only here because he saves the captain's son. So, he's, the number one person to look at for, did he go and kill all our livestock? Did he kill, the dog? So they're not sure about him. But I do want to mention there are a few crates, and one of the crates we find that it's the young girl
yep,
that's on that crate. And you want to talk about that first procedure where now we really appreciate that Dr. Clemens is there, because we pull this woman from this crate with
great.
dirt, just dirt, and she's dead from what I can tell. Did you wonder who is she? What's going on? Um, did you realize or think that it had something to do with Nosferatu?
I had a feeling it did, but I was also in that little mystery element of like, okay, is this part of Dracula's mistresses that he has that he just
Right,
feasts on and things like that too?
right,
So are we going to have a little bit of seduction with the cement being out in the ocean?
right,
Because I was like, okay, if that's the case, that's a perfect opportunity to do something like that.
right.
Because think of it like this: they're men, they're out in the ocean. What are they? They're horny. They're gonna want to sleep with, what I'm saying? They're
With
gonna want
Anna,
to,
her name's Anna. Her name's Anna.
right?
With Anna,
Well, you know what I'm saying. But that's
I
my
get
first
you.
initial thought was, and so, and then of course when we see him trying to do a blood transfusion back
Oh
in
my
those
gosh.
days, I thought that was a really neat way of actually
Yes.
showing us that they were practicing certain types of new ways of, medical treatments and
Right.
what they're accustomed to. So I thought that was a really cool touch to it because I haven't seen something like that in a movie before, especially a Dracula movie
Right.
in a sense. But seeing her coming out of that dirt and then
Right.
seeing him clean her up and try to hurry up and get a transfusion going. And
Yeah.
then you have that mystery element too of like, okay, what's going on here? Is she part of Dracula? Is she not part of Dracula? What's going on here?
Right.
Is she somebody that he just feasts on and stuff like
Or
that
is she
too?
just someone that just snuck onto
Right,
the boat, to
right,
get a ride to wherever they were going, because a lot of the crew looked at her like that. And remember,
right,
their rations are gone, their food's gone, the meat's gone. So at this point, another person showing up. First of all, they didn't want to feed the doctor. Now she shows up. They're having issues. They do not want to have to share with her because they literally have nothing. They have no more meat. Their food is gone. All right. So she's there, like John says, they give her and Dr. Clemens does an awesome, I mean, you really get to see his talents because he is the doctor, and they get to see how smart he is, and that he's not just saying what he is. So he sets up that blood transfusion to save her, and it happens. I mean, she ends up living, which I was very shocked by.
me too. It just goes to show that he was a very good doctor and he was actually able to take care of her
Right.
and everything too. And I like her character development with her introducing herself to the crew members and
Right.
telling them who she is and why she's there. And then you also get glued into even more of the fact that she knows about the beast that's on board.
Yes.
And the fact that I like how she said, in my area, in my country, we call him Dracula
Right.
in Romania.
Right.
And I like how they give a little bit of a sense of there's different legends goes by different names in different countries. Because so
Right.
if it's a B in her country, he's called Dracula. So I like that. I like that little bit of a legend kind of vibe to it, an urban legend that comes to life in her country that happens to be on board.
Right.
And you're that much enthused into this whole entire thing.
And so I want to get to the first kill, because the first kill is
Yeah,
when we
yeah.
see Nosferatu, and I'm telling you that the kill that got me was I think it was Petrovsky. I think it was him. Anyways, it was the blonde guy and another shipmate. And the way that Nosferatu is up above and slits his throat. And so dude just falls down. The creepiest thing about it was, first of all, they got the makeup is great on
Yeah.
Nosferatu. I mean, the hands, the gray, the eye, the teeth. I mean, those two teeth protruding in that side profile where we get to see later on. I absolutely love that because it was so realistic. And seeing his hands around the guy's throat, and then cutting into the guy's neck and eating him, sucking his blood. And the
Mhm.
creepiest thing is the guy's eye is still moving. He's alive throughout that. A big chunk of Nosferatu sucking his blood, draining him. That was one of the coolest scenes.
I agree, and I like that
Coolest
it
scenes.
built right. And I thought it was a cool little build to it. It has like a little bit of a Jaws kind of flavor to it,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
is what I like. It
yeah.
doesn't give us a lot of detail within
Right,
Dracula himself,
right.
but I liked it because it has a throwback feel of the old black and white
Yes.
Dracula movies, and I'm not talking about the ones that I'm Dracula. I like those type
Yeah,
of
yeah.
I'm talking about like
Not Count
I'm talking
Chocula.
about
We're
like
not
the
talking about him.
silent ones
Yes.
with the
Yeah,
big
the
huge
original
finger. Yeah,
Nosferatu.
yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You see,
The
I can't say the
original.
word, so I just get you to say it for me.
I will say
What?
it, Nosferatu.
Thank
My
you.
kids they
But
loved it when they were
but
young.
yeah, the
But yeah,
details, the little small
yes,
details, and I like the fact that they didn't make him into a human right away or anything like that
right,
either. That he has to try and get the blood first before he
yes,
goes ahead and becomes the person that we know later on.
right.
And that's something I really liked about it. And then, of course, like you said, that gruesome scene of him sucking the
Dude, that one
blood
was
and then how detailed it is, and then his
yes.
eyes, and then especially when you see Toby looking at the guy's eye and it's
Yeah,
over there like, oh my God,
right,
it's very disturbing.
right. No, it really was, and just and the guy knowing, what's going on as he's being sucked dry, and just his eye just looking around and it was just creepy. I love that, but I did like you said, the fact that we got to see, a little bit of his face, his arm, his hand, and how well the makeup was done because it's just so realistic. So I really it just skinless or
Right.
hairless. So he looked like those old cats, that the skinless cats or the
Right.
hairless cats.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
hairless one.
the hairless cats. So he looked like that. His skin looked like that, and I appreciate that because it didn't take you out of it. This is not, you're not looking for, like John said, Count Chocula. This is not that
No.
person. This is the old school Nosferatu. So I really appreciated that. Each night from that point, though, the crew's just taken down. Each night. What
Yep.
did you think about that? Like, were you doing what I was doing? Who's going to be next?
That's who I was doing. I'm like, who's going to be next on this ship? And and then you want the other guy that ended up taking the boat out and everything too. I'm like,
Gosh,
you're okay. I get the fact, dude, that either way it goes, you're screwed. So I get the fact it's about survival.
I
And
found that funny when he that was our chow, the chow hall guy. That was our chef, our cook. And
yeah,
after about I think about after the third person got taken down by Nosferatu, I'm telling you, the way he knocks that dude out, gets the dinghy, the other boat, gets in the boat because he's like, I'm out of here. He absolutely is out of here. And I thought he was gonna get away until you hear that whisper. What did you think about the whisper?
that made my skin crawl,
Oh
to be
my
honest.
gosh, right?
Like I remember seeing it on my TV and everything because at first I was watching it on my phone. I was like, I can't get the same vibe for it from my phone. So I
Yeah,
watched it on my TV. I'm like, oh my God.
yeah,
And then you see him turn around and we're just that much frantic for him.
yeah,
And you just feel bad for the guy because we're thinking you're almost there.
yeah. He's
And yet you're being taken down by this beast and this beast is just not going to let go. He's going to kill everybody that's on board.
and what's
And
what's crazy about it is when he shows up on the boat where the chef is trying to get away, the cook is trying to get away. They show his profile, his body. You see his wings. You see
mhm,
him perched there like a gargoyle. and you see his face. And I love that because I'm for show me the freaking monster. Show me the full. I want the full monster. I want to see that you guys do a full suit. And they did. And it was just really cool how they just showed him. And then he flies away. And then the boat, the little dinghy comes back, and floats back to the ship. And everyone's looking overboard. And he's gone. There's just blood there. And remember, guys, in the beginning of the film, when the boat washes ashore, no one's there. No one's on the boat. So that pretty much lets you know we're watching how every single one of them were taken out. And it was freaking gruesome. Absolutely gruesome. John, you want to talk about the worst death?
I think Toby's is probably like the
Yes.
worst.
Yes.
Because I felt bad for the kid. It's the innocence of a child. And whenever I see the child being taken, this is worse than seeing a dog getting killed and everything too for me.
Yeah, I
It's
can't
seeing a
believe
child.
they did it. I didn't think they show it.
I had a feeling they would, but at the same time, like, it's a child. It's the innocence of a child. But then I'm like, wait, there's no survivors in the other Dracula films or anything like that. Right. So you already know that he's doomed too.
Right.
And everybody's doomed on this, but we're rooting for them because we're hoping that there's hope for them.
Yeah, or at least he would have spared the little boy, But it wouldn't have made sense. I just honestly I didn't think that he would have gotten a little boy. But when he got the little boy, I didn't think that they would show him really gulp the little boy, and that was so sad because what had happened was. One crew member ended up surviving. He got bit, but he had turned, and so they had to. And his name was it was Olgarin. So Olgarin was the one that survived. He was bit. They had to tie him down on a table because he was going nuts, and he finally gets loose, and Toby ends up seeing him. So he ends up going after Toby. Toby gets away and goes into his father's the captain's cabin. He goes in there, hides. While he's hiding, there is a perfect scene where you see the full body of Nosferatu and you see his side profile. And I love that part because when he turns to the side, you see those two front teeth and just that look, that weird, doofy, trippy, creepy look that he gives, and then he scurries off. That was another scene that I thought was just freaking awesome. I love that scene. I love that was.
And then after that, you see him take down Toby, and then the burial thing just got me because of the fact that the captain goes, "Wait, I think I can see him breathing," and then you see the doctor looking at him like, "Look, man, he's not breathing."
Yeah, it's like he's gone, doc.
And part of me is like, is he going to be sleeping? Is he going to even be waking up because of the fact that it's during the daytime?
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Because they rest during the day. So I'm like, is he just going to wake up? Because I understand them waking up in the dark because there's no light, but is he going to do the same thing in the daytime?
Right.
And Toby winds up waking up.
Yeah.
And then he winds up catching on fire, just like how the dude that we see strapped down.
Yeah, Olgarin too.
Yeah, Olgarin gets strapped down outside and he gets burnt alive first, and then it goes into Toby being burnt. But the way they burnt him and then him throwing him overboard just broke my heart because I'm like, dude, right. I was rooting because I'm like, okay, well, if they take down Dracula, maybe there's hope for this kid to survive.
Yes, I thought so too. I thought because what ends up happening is when Toby gets, attacked by Nosferatu, Dr. Clemens also gives him a blood transfusion, and he's trying, and so his dad, the captain, is, they're getting his blood to put into Toby, and so I'm thinking at that point, okay, he's going to live, but we also see what happened to Oberyn. He got bit, he lived, but he wasn't himself. So I thought that Toby would have survived. So when they're on the deck and they have Toby wrapped up because they're doing a funeral for him, and his dad, obviously the captain, is very distraught. And so, like John says, when he looks over and he's like, he's moving. I thought, freaking awesome, he wasn't dead. He actually survived until he opens up his eyes and he starts burning, and then Olgarin starts burning up because obviously they are vampires and it is the daytime, bright and sunny out. Crazy scene, and how the captain, who's going to grab his son, also is burned, reaching for Toby. So that happens. And then the captain lost his mind. He lost his mind. And what he wanted to do was write everything down in the captain logs. Like he wanted to make sure everything was written down, but he totally, absolutely lost it.
He lost his mind. It's like having cabin fever after that point.
Yes. Yes.
His own sanity. And I can understand why. He lost his son and
Right.
you're dumping him overboard and never to see him again.
Right.
And this is reaching for him. And then, and then of course the next morning, of course, with Algarian, who had been like we said, the stuff with the whole Algarian and everything being burnt alive. Then, then the remaining crew wants to destroy the ship and down Dracula to prevent him from causing chaos once they reach London. Right. So now you have a plan now.
Yes.
In motion.
Yes. And Anna's going to help. Yeah. Anna's going to help because Anna knows, because we find out also, guys, that Anna was who Nosferatu was feeding on. That's why she was there. He was feeding on her, and she had told them he would come back, drain her again, put dirt back in her. She'd be back in the dirt, and so that's why she was there. It was his food source was Anna. So, and you see bites on Anna that was healed, on her neck. I think on her arm there's bites on her. So you see those bites, and you see that her explaining that's why she was in that box. It was his food. Right. He was feeding. And there was a certain point, I remember one of the crew members thought that he had left, he had fled. He didn't. He was, what did she say? He was rationing. He was rationing what he had. And so he wasn't running. He was just rationing what he had. And so with the captain going crazy and letting them know, the other crew members and Dr. Clemens know, this boat, we're cursed.
Right.
The devil is here.
We're a cursed crew.
We're a cursed crew. The devil is here, and where he wants us to end up at. So that's happening. So they do come up with this awesome plan to kill him.
Right. And I like how they have everything in motion where basically they're planning on killing Dracula and stuff like that too. I thought that was really neat.
Right.
On how they were coming up with that plan. And then of course you're wondering if this is even going to come through or not, Right. Too. And then, you have two people on top of these sailors. Yes. Then you also have another thing where they're going to do is they're going to go take where the cargo bay is and basically lift that up just as the Dracula falls down into it, and they trap him into the cargo, and they wind up just basically taking some nails and everything and nailing it shut.
Right. Right. So we lose we lose a couple of people. We lose the second in command. We lose him. And they pull this stunt off, but we do lose a couple of men in the process. I remember, I think one guy fell from the top and died. I think Nosferatu ended up getting one of the other guys. And so you have the captain left, you have Anna left, and you have Dr. Clemens left. Everyone else has died. The captain, though, doesn't want to. Oh yeah, that's right. He ties himself to the what is it, John? The
star
wheel.
The wheel, the starburst. I think that's how.
Okay. So he ties himself that he wants to go down with the ship, basically. And you want to talk about the trap? Like it actually did work, but it was at a point where Dracula was attacking Dr. Clemens.
Right. And he winds up attacking Dr. Clemens.
Right.
And you also see the other two members that's on top of the thing. They wind up basically almost hanging themselves, if you think about it, because that's basically how I seen it. Because basically how Dracula did it was he ended up knocking them off, and they hung up in some rope and they hung themselves.
Right.
Then you also see the other thing that was going to happen with the cargo bay, and then he winds up scratching Clemens's neck.
Yes.
And everything.
Oh my gosh.
To mark him, because he actually sees him basically as an alpha. That's the way I seen it.
Yeah.
And therefore he could use someone like that versus it just being a throwaway. I think he would have actually been, instead of him finding that one person in London, Jonathan, I think he would have been the one that would actually be the caretaker for Dracula.
Okay.
And that's how I seen it.
Okay, I can see that.
but because of the fact he needs someone that's an alpha, he doesn't
And
want someone that is weak.
Clemens absolutely was an alpha. I mean, he, when Dracula had approached him, and like John said, he slices his throat, not to kill him. He's not dead, but he draws blood. And so, and you have Dr. Clemens who's telling him, I'm not afraid of you. I'm not scared of you. And so you have Dracula who then goes and attacks Anna, and you see her folded up, him folding his wings up around Anna, and then the ship, the trap that they had, end up releasing, and they have Dracula then pinned up against a pole.
Yep.
And go ahead, John.
And it looks like it strikes his heart and everything
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
The way it looks, and
Yeah.
then you think that all is good because Clemens is now, of course, in London,
Yes.
and I love it. I love this scene so much because
I
now,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
no,
Go
no,
ahead.
go on ahead.
Well, what I liked was so Clemens and Anna end up being the only two that are the survivors. Okay, so the ship goes, it's gone. They jump off the ship as they kill Dracula. They're holding on to some parts of the ship in the middle of the ocean. And I really love the scene where, which is really sad, where Anna is telling Clemens, like, you need to get far away from me. You need to go, because she's a vampire and she doesn't want to hurt him. So they drift off, and then you see in the background, because it is, the sun is coming up, and you see in the background her burn up because she is a vampire. So the next scene we see is, fast forwarded, Clemens is in London, like John had mentioned, and he's looking for Nosferatu, because he knows that he made it. He knows that he made it, because they couldn't. His body was not at the ship, right?
Well, parts of me was thinking this. Okay, this is just
Okay.
me seeing it on the expression on his face. Okay, part of me is thinking that he's thinking that, okay, I have nothing to worry about now. We killed him, but also in the back of his mind, though, too, I feel like is very fearful
Yep.
that he's still alive in the
Yep.
back of his mind too. So, I've liked that whole entire thing of like, am I safe or am I not really safe?
Right.
Kind of vibe to it. And then you wind up seeing Clemens just looking around, and all of a sudden you see a shadow,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
there's this little creepy little smirk.
Oh my
He has his
gosh.
top hat on, and
Yep.
he's also got the cane that Clemens found
Yep.
in the crate. And he's
Yep.
over there banging the cane with his hand,
To
and you
let him
realize it's
know
him. Yep, that he's there.
he's there. That was I really, really, really like this film. I'm so happy that it was done right. The acting was great. The story was great. I love the ending, because is there going to be another one? Is this going to be something that this guy is going to do? It was just, it ended great. And to find Nosferatu in that tavern where Clemens was, and to hear that knocking, and for him to look, and for Clemens to know, because they look at each other, that he's made it. He's in London. And there's one thing that Clemens did mention when he's opening up his book right before that scene is, if he's here, I know where he rests at night.
Right.
So he knows
So
where to go at night, where he rests, but or during the day. I'm sorry, during the day, he knows where to find him. But he made it. He's alive, and I love that ending, because it leaves a question mark on. For me, I'm always looking to see, will they do another one? Is there a possibility of another one being done because of the way that it ended? But I really liked it.
me too.
I'm happy that they went there, that they focus on the original Dracula from the 20s, the
Me
30s.
too. The only Get this, okay? So I was hoping that it would actually made a lot more money than it did,
How did it
but
do?
it had a $45 million budget, and it made only 21.8 million.
Wow.
And in order for it to make a sequel, you would have to at least have, give or take, of like maybe $150 million budget.
Okay. Okay.
and everything for it to be a
Okay.
success, for it to actually have a sequel.
Right.
But I wanted a sequel for this. This is a good story. It
It's
just
a
sucks that
great
people
story.
slept on it, you know?
Yeah, I do feel that. I mean, when I saw the trailer for it, obviously, I'm all for it. I couldn't wait to see it. When I finally saw it a few months ago, it was everything I wanted it to be. It was really good. I mean, it wasn't too long. It was like only an hour
Oh,
and 58 minutes. So it wasn't, drawn out. But in that hour and 58 minutes, like John said, you really get to know the crew because they let you get to know the crew. The little boy Toby, who you absolutely just fall in love with, just a cute little boy, just a whole story, and Dr. Clemens. I loved the whole crew, and the acting was really good. Special effects great, and really quick. We never mentioned who plays the Beast, but Javier Botet. He played.
Bodam, yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay, him. He played. Sorry,
No, no,
he
no, it's
plays.
okay.
He plays Dracula. He plays Nosferatu, and he did a great freaking job.
Wow.
Yes. Yes.
I had no
So,
idea that that was Javier Bardem. I mean, because I love that dude. That dude is hands down one of my favorite actors.
well, let's see. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Him.
Yeah.
That's odd. Yeah, he's a great actor and he did great in this. Absolutely great in this. I do have some fun facts if you want to hear.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Please do.
so here's some goofs. So at about the hour 35, Wolchek locks himself inside the cargo hold by inserting a wooden board through the handles, but they're sliding doors, so they still won't open. All right, so
Oh.
that's okay. So they still they would still open, okay? And then the quotes. This is a quote that Clemens made, and I wanted to bring this up. He said, I do not fear you. And then you have Nosferatu who says, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. Do you remember that part where he looks at him and says, I do not fear you?
Yeah, I do.
And Dracula says, you, oh yeah, he says, you will. You will. I thought that was cool. That's a quote. And here's a little trivia. So Dracula's look is based on Count Orlok from the unauthorized adaptation Nosferatu 1922. That's the one that you're talking about. This
Yep.
was also the model for the look of the vampire Barlow in the original Salem's Lot in 1979.
Yep. I had a feeling that's also another thing I forgot to mention too. It had like a little bit of a Salem's Lot vibe with the makeup and everything.
Yes.
So yeah.
So, and that was a good one. The Salem's Lot, those were good ones as well. So there we have it. If you had to rate it though, what would you give it?
If I had to do it, I would have to put down 4 steaks out of 5.
I get you. I would say absolutely, definitely average movie, but I watched it like more than 2 times and I enjoyed it.
Right.
So, guys, it is
I would
streaming
actually buy it.
now. You can go and watch it.
Yeah, just to give everybody a heads up, you guys can rent it on Vudu. You can also watch it on Apple, which I did. Or you can buy it on Blu-ray, DVD, or whatever you choose
Or
if you're a
YouTube.
physical. Yep, or
Rent it on
YouTube.
YouTube. Yeah, you can
Yep,
rent it on YouTube.
there you
That's where I
go.
watched it at. So great movie. I'm so happy that you reviewed that with me, and I hope you guys really enjoyed that movie. John, do you want to talk
So
about our next little?
yes, so I actually had a little short film that was sent in to me and everything, and that is by David A. Flores. David A. Flores has a short film that's about 14 minutes long. It's called Likeness.
Yes.
And basically, it's about this girl who's looking for her mother, and she's missing. And so she winds up finding this AI program. And what she does is she takes her mother's likeness and uploads it into this software, and it generates a video carbon copy of what her mother it looks like,
Mhm.
talks, and everything.
Yeah.
And I just thought this was a great short film that clocks in at 14 minutes.
Yes.
Um, I really enjoyed it. I did a review on it, but I want to know Rossie's thoughts because, I sent her this and I wanted her to. I was just kind of curious about what she thought of it.
Oh my gosh, I love films about AI and that type of stuff. So it's pretty interesting. So when I watched the film, like John said, 14 minutes, but it packs a lot in 14 minutes. I really liked it. It makes you think, though. I was telling John that um, the daughter who uploads her mother's image, like John explained, it made me think like what with my grandmother, like she died, and if I could upload a likeness into a computer or whatever and generate and have her AI there, how would you deal with that? Would that be creepy? Would that be cool? Like I think that would be. I would try it absolutely, just to have a few moments with which it's not, but just it looks like it passes for it.
Right.
But the story itself, really enjoyed the story. I don't want to give the ending away, but I liked how what she ends up finding out, uh, the way she reacts to the AI, because she's very wanting to make sure that this AI, knows that, even though you look like my mom, whatever, you're not my mother, and making that very clear, kind of angry in a sense with the whole situation. And then watching the film and finding out the ending and what happened, it was really good. And
Yes.
I don't want
And
to say too much because I don't want to give it away, because I really would like to talk about it, but I don't want to give the ending away.
right.
I enjoyed his play with the AI and your mother, or yeah.
And in case anybody's wondering, we're talking about likeness, and this is a short film that was sent in to me by David A. Flores, and it's actually going to be live for everyone to watch and everything on the 26th on Omeleto's YouTube channel. You can actually find my review on the YouTube channel, and you just find his link and then subscribe to it. And it's going to premiere on the 26th. I just want to throw that out there as part of the Holly Shorts Film Festival. And it's been getting a lot of buzz lately, so thought this would be a perfect time after our review of the last voyage of the Demeter that we would
No,
be able to talk about that. But no,
I
I
thought it
actually
was good. It was a good
I,
film. It was an interesting premise. Everyone's doing AI right now, but I liked his story, his take on it, because her mother is a sex worker, and her mother end up disappearing, goes missing. And so the film starts with, you see her, uploading the mother's image, and she soon goes and finds out what happened to the mom a little bit later in the film, which will bring everything together. John, go ahead.
right. And I like the fact too that he's using AI as a coping mechanism
Yes.
later
Oh,
on in
right.
the film. And of course, at the very beginning of it, she's like, "You're not my mother. You're just an AI. You're just
Yep.
photo generator. You're not my mother." Oh, help me find where my mother was last located. Well, I can't do that because there's still an ongoing investigation. So in my mind, thinking I'm thinking
Mhm.
that this could be used later on in the future to help criminal investigations for
Yes.
CSI and stuff
Right.
like that to help with it. So it's breaking into the whole entire deal of AI can actually be used for tools for something good versus something
Right.
bad,
Right.
and nothing so negatively as well. So I like that aspect of the fact that she's using AI as a coping mechanism, but also
Mhm.
finding out where her mother's last whereabouts was, and also
Right.
a way to look into an investigation. And I thought I just want to say this: the actress that plays her mom, it's very hard to do that kind of thing
Oh, wow. Yeah.
where there's no emotion, and
Yes.
AI shows no emotion, no
Right.
attachment to anything. And I just loved it. I loved how she played the character for that
Right.
AI.
Going to the using AI for grieving purposes, like if you're mourning someone, I don't know. I don't know if that would be a good idea, because I feel like maybe in a way you wouldn't move on. You wouldn't, you
No,
know what I
you're
mean?
just
It'd
stuck
be
there.
hard to, you know what I mean? It'd be hard to then move on with the grieving process, because now you have this image of your loved one who's able to talk to you, who's able to, so I would think that you'd become obsessed with that, because you can't see them. They're not physically here with you, like touching you, but you can
No,
talk to them. I
I would
just,
feel
so
like
I thought
right.
about that, would it, yeah, that's why I brought up the grandmother situation, missing her so much, being gone for, years and years and years, and then being able to upload her image and be able to talk with her and speak to her, would that be good for my psyche, you know?
Right. And I feel like for me personally, I wouldn't want that because of the fact I'll be stuck in that whole entire thing of like,
Absolutely.
well, guess what? I can go home anytime I want to
Yep.
just to spend time with this AI. And then next thing you know, that becomes part of your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
don't
Absolutely.
but I do want to mention one other thing too, though. If you guys are into that kind of thing, there's actually another little short film that I reviewed back in 2020 called Please Hold. And
Hmm.
this is dealing with artificial intelligence accidentally arresting somebody
Really?
for a crime that he didn't even do. And it's a futuristic
Really?
kind of thing. It's actually on Max the last time I've seen it. Yeah, it's on Max now. It's
Okay.
19 minutes long. It's really good for a little short film. So I just want to throw that out there. If you guys like something like that,
Right.
that is actually another good one because it goes into the whole entire realm of, well, if you're going to use this, this could also be misidentification off of somebody who's look likeness or whatever, and then
Right.
you get arrested for some crime that you didn't even do.
You know, there was a
So,
the original Twilight Zone, the black and white Twilight Zone back in the
yep.
day. They had did one of the stories was uh, uh, two kids that had lost their grandmother, and the dad needed. They lost their mother, and so the dad obviously worked, and you can go and buy at the store. You can go and buy you artificial intelligence and a robot that looks just like a person, and you can buy them and bring them home, and you can buy you a grandmother or whatever. Anyways, they play around with that back in the 60s, the 50s, 60s when Twilight Zone was out. So they are way ahead of their time with this whole AI thing because they did a couple of stories, but I remember that one because it was really good, but very creepy because the kids got so attached to the AI grandmother to where the grandmother was turning the kids against the father. It was a really good story, but just that they did that way back when that wasn't a thing, you know. So I thought that's very interesting. It's one of my favorite shorts from the Twilight Zone series.
And also, too, another thing that you guys can look at is like the likeness is just like a Black Mirror episode as well.
Oh yeah,
So,
it absolutely is. Yes,
so
definitely.
So yeah, just want to throw that out there. But yeah, definitely worth watching and checking out on the 26th. And you guys can check out that review as you guys please. So make sure you support David and the rest of his team. They did a phenomenal job with that. So that's it as far as the short film review for Likeness.
Yes, absolutely. So John, what do you have coming up next week? What's going on with movie lovers?
So, okay, so I'm going to be doing another NFL draft kind of based kind of thing that I did with Leonardo DiCaprio. I just have to find a day and time to do it. But we're
Okay.
going to be covering all Johnny Depp, best Johnny Depp movies of all time. We're
Oh,
skipping franchises, though. We're not doing the Pirates of the Caribbean
okay.
franchise. We're not covering that. And we're not covering Alice in Wonderland.
Okay. There's
So,
plenty still.
so we're going from the 90s to 2015, probably.
Freaking awesome. Awesome.
So, and yeah, that's what we're doing as far as that goes. I do have some other stuff planned out, probably some more trailer reactions because we're gonna have the Super Bowl coming up, and there's gonna be a crap load of trailers that's gonna be coming out. So I'm gonna be doing trailer reactions for that.
Okay. I would
But
like to do that with
that's
you.
okay, awesome, more the
Absolutely.
merrier. But yeah, I'm gonna be doing that for the Johnny Depp thing, and then I'm gonna try and think of some other stuff that we're gonna try and do. But yeah,
Absolutely.
that's the main thing.
Absolutely. Same here. I'll have a show coming up with Kristen. Kristen, gosh, the actress, Kristen Duff. I'm sorry. And uh, she's filming right now, guys. So as soon as she's done filming, her and I are going to be talking about the Spider-Man cartoon films. What was it? The two?
Uh, Across the Spider Verse and also Into the Spider Verse.
Yes, absolutely. So been playing a lot of Spider-Man video game, the new Spider-Man game that's out. So I have to go and watch the films, and I thought it'd be fun to do it with Kristen. So as soon as she's available, we'll be doing that sometime this month, and you'll see me with John.
Okay. Another thing too is we do have a Patreon, and
Yes,
it's the intermission stuff that we've been doing.
yes.
I am working on an intermission episode right now that I'm actually editing, and that's going to come out next Wednesday. and it's going to be commercial free. If you sign up with the Patreon at Movie Lovers Unite, TV Lovers Unite, you get a shout out. It's only $5 for the sign up,
Right.
and commercial free. And then a week later, I release it to the public, and then therefore, you know, it's you got the commercial advertisements and stuff like that too. So,
Yes.
you know, just a little small tidbit thing I want to throw out there that we do have a Patreon. We are actually trying to grow it and expand it.
Yes.
So if you guys have any ideas, just shoot me an email at movieloversunite@gmail.com. So going ahead, you can go on ahead and close out there with Ross.
Okay. So so hit up our Patreon. John and I have an intermission coming up that we're going to do, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to that. I love your intermission, John. And you guys, we appreciate you joining us tonight. As always, be good to each other, and we'll see you next week, guys.
California love.
California love, absolutely. And
that's what we're working on is Tupac. So
yes, it is. Yeah, I wasn't going to say it, but yeah, we both love Tupac. John, yeah, so we have a lot of discussing about Tupac, his life, his films, and goodness, movies, everything about him. Juice, we should probably review that. That was a
heck yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a good one to review. So yeah, John and I will be talking about Tupac. And that's going to be it, guys. So we'll see you next time.
See you guys later.